Apple is about to change the flagship game in a way we have not seen in years. Leaks coming out of the supply chain right now suggest the iPhone 18 Pro Max is not just an incremental upgrade. It is a fundamental rethinking of what a premium smartphone should be. And the feature most people are not talking about, it has nothing to do with the camera or the chip. But before we get there, pricing. Early analyst estimates are pointing to a starting price of $1,299 for the iPhone 18 Pro Max. That is a $100 increase over where the 17 Pro Max launched. And whether that price hike is justified is exactly what we need to figure out together today. Because if you're sitting on an iPhone 15 Pro Max, an iPhone 16 Pro Max, or even a Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra right now, this decision could save you or cost you real money. Let's talk about the biggest confirmed change first. Apple is reportedly moving to a new display architecture. We are looking at a 6.9-inch ProMotion OLED with a reported peak brightness exceeding 3,000 nits. For context, the iPhone 17 Pro Max hits around 2,000 nits peak. That jump is not a spec sheet number. In direct sunlight, that difference is the gap between squinting at your screen and seeing it perfectly clearly. If you shoot outdoor content, work in bright environments, or simply use your phone outside regularly, this matters more than almost any other spec on this list. But that is not the biggest change. Here is where things get very interesting. Apple is expected to debut a brand new chip architecture with the A19 Pro, and the performance leap being projected here is significant. Leaked Geekbench estimates suggest the A19 Pro could deliver a 30 to 35% single-core improvement over the A18 Pro. In real-world terms, video creators exporting a 4K timeline on the iPhone 17 Pro Max take roughly 38 seconds. Early simulation benchmarks suggest the iPhone 18 Pro Max could complete that same export in under 26 seconds. That is 12 seconds back in your day every single time you export. For professionals running heavy creative workflows, that math adds up fast. Most buyers comparing specs are completely missing this one detail that could make or break the purchase. Apple is also rumored to be shipping 12 gigabytes of RAM as standard across the Pro line for the first time. Why does that matter? Because it is the foundation that makes Apple Intelligence actually work at full capacity. Right now, on-device AI processing on the 17 Pro Max occasionally offloads to the cloud under heavy multitasking. With 12 gigabytes of RAM and the A19 Pro's neural engine, that changes. You get faster, more private, more capable AI running entirely on your device. For professionals who handle sensitive data, that is not a nice-to-have. That is a genuine workflow advantage. Now let's talk cameras. And this is the part that surprised us the most. Leaks point to Apple making a major move on the ultra-wide lens. The 18 Pro Max is reportedly getting a 48-megapixel ultra-wide with autofocus capability and a significantly improved aperture. The current ultra-wide on the 17 Pro Max is already excellent. But pairing a 48-megapixel ultra-wide with autofocus fundamentally opens up macro video at a level we have not seen on any smartphone, including the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra and the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. The numbers look impressive on paper, but here is what the real-world testing story actually tells us. Photographers and creators who shoot in mixed lighting, the kind of event, wedding, or documentary work where conditions change fast, have long complained that ultra-wide shots on iPhones lose sharpness compared to the main lens. A 48-megapixel autofocus ultra-wide closes that gap in a meaningful way. You are no longer choosing between the perfect focal length and sharp output. You get both. Here is the part that changes everything when we talk about price. At $1,299, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is $100 more than its predecessor at launch. But let's frame this as the investment decision it actually is. If you're upgrading from an iPhone 15 Pro Max, a 2-year-old device, you're buying a phone you will likely hold for 3 years minimum. That $1,299 breaks down to roughly $36 per month over 3 years. For a device that handles your communication, your creative output, your payments, your navigation, and your professional workflow, that cost per day math is difficult to argue against. Against the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra at $1,299, and the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL at $1,099. The iPhone 18 Pro Max competes directly on price with Samsung and sits above Google. But the ecosystem advantage Apple carries, seamless integration with Mac, iPad, Apple Watch, and AirPods, is a real long-term value multiplier that neither Samsung nor Google can fully replicate today. If you're already inside the Apple ecosystem, switching to Samsung or Google to save money is often a short-term saving with a long-term cost. Most people upgrading right now are making a $400 mistake by buying the wrong model at the wrong time. Here's what I mean. If you are currently on an iPhone 16 Pro Max, a device that is less than a year old, the performance jump to the 18 Pro Max does not justify the cost of switching right now. The 18 Pro is still an elite chip. The camera system is already exceptional. You are not leaving meaningful performance on the table. But the math flips completely if you're on an iPhone 15 Pro Max or older. The combined improvement in chip performance, RAM, display brightness, ultra-wide camera capability, and AI processing represents the kind of generational leap that genuinely changes how you use your device every day. And for anyone still on an Android flagship considering a switch, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is the strongest entry point into the Apple ecosystem we have ever seen. So here is the final verdict, broken down clearly by who you are. If you're a professional or creator on an iPhone 15 Pro Max or older, buy the iPhone 18 Pro Max the moment it launches. The performance upgrade, the improved AI capability, and the ultra-wide camera improvement are real, tangible, and daily use relevant. This is your upgrade cycle. If you're a power user or photographer on an iPhone 15 or earlier Android flagship, this is the strongest argument for switching to Apple we have seen in years. The camera system, the chip performance, and the ecosystem integration are all best in class. If you're a casual user on an iPhone 14 or older, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is an excellent long-term investment, but consider whether the standard iPhone 18 fits your actual needs. You may not use the Pro features enough to justify the price premium. If you're on an iPhone 16 Pro Max, wait. You're not losing anything by holding your current device another 12 months. The 17 to 18 jump is meaningful. The 16 to 18 jump does not make financial sense right now. If you are a gamer, the A19 Pro's GPU improvements and the 12 GB RAM upgrade make the 18 Pro Max the most capable mobile gaming device Apple has ever shipped. If gaming is a priority, this chip generation matters. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is not a spec refresh. It is a legitimate performance and capability investment with a clear upgrade path for anyone 2 years or more behind the current generation. Before you make your final call, there is one more development coming around the display and titanium build changes that the early supply chain reports are just beginning to surface. We are covering that full breakdown next, and it may shift where this phone sits against the Galaxy S25 Ultra more than anything we discussed today.